should be live.
Apocalypse, baby. Roll with it.
Fish, thank you for the host. And Neffy.
It's the apocalypse, baby. Roll with it.
See, I feel like maybe wait a couple minutes because, like, talking to actual, like, no one's here. Give them a couple minutes to come in so we can just chill until we see activity. Couple minute warm up. So, how's everybody doing?
Doing pretty good.
It's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right.
You're in my presence, Kettle. It should be
No, look,
going
I'm happy.
fantastically.
Look, I'm happy to be here chatting with all you guys.
Mm.
Just all that. I was telling you about some things earlier that were kind of
Things.
yeah,
Some things and stuff and things.
And things and stuff and things.
But no, fine as it were.
I'm perfect today.
I'm just glad it's Friday, to be honest.
Yeah.
Found out I was getting a lot more money starting last Sunday, so
Nice.
I'm pretty happy.
It's this Sunday. It goes
He said it kicked in last Sunday, so I'm gonna see it on the 13th.
Mine told me that the raise doesn't take effect until the 2nd.
He said, since it started last Sunday, I'm gonna see it in February 13th's paycheck.
Oh yeah, for one of the weeks.
Very nice.
So
Hobo Joe, hello. I'll give him the 3 minutes. Well, no, it's almost 3 minutes. I'll give him the 4 minutes. People got till the 4-minute mark before I start this firecracker up. But how are you doing tonight, Hobo?
there we go. I couldn't even find my own channel.
Faux show. Yep, exactly. 4-minute faux show. Pizza Guy's got 30 seconds. All-star cast, you know it. Everybody's here, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Every single person. How could they miss it? We're going to talk about horror movies. What's better than this? I mean, I guess actually watching them, but we can't do.
That's not always the case.
Yeah,
Some
sometimes.
Opinions I have to share later.
Okay, cool, nice. Talking about horror movies is superior to watching them because when you watch them, you have to watch them do all the dumb shit. But when you talk about them, you can just talk about them doing the dumb shit. Hobo, thank you for the 10 bits. All right, we're at the 4-minute mark. We're going in.
Go for it.
So I'll do we got Spookshow Syndicate official episode 2 is here finally. Kind of like the October show when we watched like 31 freaking movies over the month of October and then talked about them. And it's kind of the same thing here, only we stripped it down a lot more sane. Only 4 movies for the month of January with a theme. I curated it because I'm the only person who knows enough about horror movies to do such a thing. So January's theme, Frankenstein. Because a whole bunch of different Frankenstein movies. And I wrote a little monologue entry opening thing that I'm going to read through now to get us off the boat, get us a sense of backstory and theming, introduce the movies, everything like that. So let's just get right into that. Fucking Frankenstein. That's a little book from the 1800s created as a byproduct of a friendly little writing competition by a young woman who, up until that point, was no writer. And yet, it's become one of the most enduring stories ever told. Frankenstein not only opened the door for mad science as a genre, but has become a subgenre of its own. Victor Frankenstein might have hobbled together an impressive monster from cadavers, but it's nothing compared to the monster Mary Shelley built out of words. A monster that's continued to live and evolve over the last 2 centuries. touching every creative medium available from Universal monster movies to fucking breakfast cereals. It's a story that's been around since the early days of cinema, with the Edison Studios putting forth the first adaptation way back in 1910. And Frankie and his monster have been going strong ever since. According to Wikipedia, Frankenstein has been the inspiration for 70 movies. I gotta suspect that list is incomplete, or at the very least doesn't include the myriad of films that Frankenstein has lent some inspiration to. One thing that's certain is that the number is only going to get bigger and continue to expand in weirder and weirder directions. Because there's a lot of creative direction you can take the Frankenstein story into. And tonight we'll be covering 4 entries that have put their own unique stamp on the Franken mythos. From 1971, we have Lady Frankenstein, a Hammer-esque take on the source material that gives us Rosalba Neri as an enchantingly devious mad scientist who's quite eager to show she's got even bigger and crazier ideas than her father. From 1973, we have Flesh for Frankenstein, a surreal, gory trip into bizarre eroticism and over-the-top monologues from Udo Kier. From 1985, we have The Bride, starring Sting. Yes, that Sting. The singer, not the wrestler, as Baron Frankenstein, who's such a smoldering ladies' man that he has to make a woman from scratch and still can't figure out how to seduce her. And finally, from 2013, we have Frankenstein's Army, where Carl Roden hacks apart Nazi soldiers and pieces them back together into the most insane menagerie of Franken monsters that have ever been seen. So wipe the cerebral fluid off your monitors and strap a lightning rod to your heads. Welcome to Franken-uary.
Franken-uary. Yes.
That's it, we're in.
Oh,
Pulled the
God.
trigger now. So yeah, I figure we can go at them chronologically, starting with Lady Frankenstein. Then
Okay.
Flesh,
All right.
then The Bride, then
That's how I watched
Frankenstein's
them,
Army.
so makes sense.
Yeah. I think I watched them all over the place. See, I've got a little spreadsheet pulled up. Oh, and we're also, another quick thing that I threw together very last minute. We're going to be ranking these movies, but we're not just going to be like, oh, this is the best and this was the worst and all that. We're going to do that too, but we've got different categories, kind of like the October thing. So we've got best kill, best characters, worst movie, comfiest movie, scariest movie, most disturbing movie, sleeper hit, most forgettable movie, best writing, and best gore. We're also going to be ranking them from 1 to 4 on which one we think had the best monsters and which one we think had the best Frankensteins. I also counted up how many people died and how many people had sex in all of them, and I ranked them. So those are static points. We're giving points.
Ooh.
You're going to ask, well, what about stuff like worst movie, most forgettable movie? Should that detract points? No, we give points here to even the worst. So even the worst movie gets 5 points for winning that category.
Oh, shit.
Per person. So we got static points right now at the start of the tally. Body counts in terms of death counts. Lady Frankenstein's in the lead, followed by Frankenstein's Army, Flesh for Frankenstein, then The Bride. Sex counts, Flesh is at the top, followed by Lady, then The Bride, then Frankenstein's Army. So they've got starter scores, and we'll see how they rank out. I'll be adding in everyone else's picks and scores and tallying them up. I've already got mine picked out. But Lady Frankenstein. The tender story of Lady Frankenstein making a Franken creature to bang.
Honestly, in my opinion, Lady Frankenstein was probably the most forgettable of all of them for me.
So that'd be your most forgettable?
Yeah, that'd be.
It was mine too, honestly.
Compared to like everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of forgettableness, I guess technically, I didn't think any of them were particularly forgettable, as it were.
Right.
But as we all know, forgettable does not equate good.
No.
I liked Lady Frankenstein overall. I thought the monster was particularly cool looking, especially for an early '70s movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He had that
no,
weird
it
cone
was.
head to him. He
Yeah.
looked almost like a 50s era like alien then he did it like a Franken creature, but with added gore on him. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That eye reminded me of when Glenn got hit by a bat. I was like, Glenn, back.
He also kind of looked like Peter Boyle in that
A little
too.
bit.
Who's Peter Boyle?
He was
RoboCop.
no, that's Peter Weller. Peter Boyle. Yeah. Peter Boyle.
I can see like his being like a fucked up RoboCop. That's why I went to that.
Peter Boyle played Frankenstein in Young Frankenstein.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Raymond's dad.
Yes, that fucking guy.
Oh gee, Deb.
But yeah, Lady Frank, it struck me as it's kind of a standard one. I've got it down for me as, do I have it down as comfiest? No, I've got The Bride as comfiest. But like, it is kind of a comfy, like, old school pseudo hammer horror type thing. Very gothic.
Yeah, I like that of it. And I mean, Rosabella Neri is hot as fuck in the entire movie.
Oh yeah, no, she's gorgeous.
That's why I'm just like,
oh my god,
this movie's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it had probably one of the funniest kills, which was when the monster intruded on those two people about to fuck by the river, and then he kills the guy, and then he just picks up the naked girl, and she faints, and he throws her in the river.
No. That was a great scene. He doesn't kill the guy. Like,
he didn't kill the guy.
He walks up on him. They start screaming. The guy gets up and just bolts.
Oh, that's
like I made a note of it. Even the monster interacting couple near the river. The guy nopes the fuck out of that situation. You're on your own, lady.
About the guy, but yeah, he just
bolts. Just dumps her into the river. Yep, and apparently that's enough to die back then. That's what I think. That's why
I'm assuming she just drowned because she passed out.
I could assume so too. Like I got the kill death count at 16, which it honestly might be lower than that because there were a lot of instances where the monster just kind of like bumped into people and they fell down and you didn't see them get back up. So I counted those as deaths. Mm-hmm. But it was
bumped into him.
It was like really like
a lot of those kills where it's like he kind of just like gives them a bear hug.
Yeah, gives them the bear hug.
So it's like, are they dead? I don't know.
Yeah, and you just kind of assume you never see them again. You never hear anything about them again, but you hear that the monster's killing people. So it's like, all right, I guess he killed them. I guess that was enough to kill someone back in the 1970s.
Mm-hmm. Seems like it.
So aside from being the most forgettable, no real.
It like the others had such great plots or characters, and not that the female lead, the female protagonist wasn't awesome, but like it was fairly, in comparison, it wasn't anything new other than it being a female Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein. Like that's
right.
all that was new. It was the same old formula, and like at this point in time, it's just I guess it's the earliest of the movies, so that's to be expected. It wasn't really something that maybe was overdone or heard about, but it's just kind of nice to see something different with the
I think back then there was a lot more just like they were kind of just retelling the same story, adding different stuff. So like the appeal of Lady Frankenstein, I imagine in the time, was the fact that it was a Lady Frankenstein.
Yeah.
There was a fair amount of sex and nudity in it, and there was more gore. Which is kind of like where the Hammer side of things comes in, because Hammer horror films were known predominantly for doing those types of things. Right. What about you, Fish? Aside from reminding you of Glenn.
No, I was really impressed with the way, like, in comparison, in how many scenes there were, very few of those are the monsters terrorizing. And he's very scary in those scenes to me. Mm-hmm. But it's just, it left such an impact on everything else and set the tone for everything else. And there was just so few of them. So that was impressive. I was like, that's a great way to convey or subliminally insert a seed of fear and
Right.
uncomfortableness. So I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I was in as soon as I saw Tanya because I mean she was very elvish, and I was like, oh, look at them eyes. Oh, look at them. But it rivaled a different movie that actually became number one for me for best writing.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. But again, it's one of those, like, it's not, to me, it's not anything. It's not like super breaking a mold or anything like that. But it's a very,
No.
it's a good rainy day movie. It's a good I'm feeling sick type of movie. You can just put on and be like, this is entertaining enough, but I don't really have to pay attention to it. Because, like, I don't really. What the hell was her whole, like, her plan was, her motivation kind of shifted throughout the movie. At first she's like, I want to prove myself, and then it's, I want to prove everyone that my father wasn't just insane.
Shit insane.
And then it kind of turned into her just wanting an undead boy toy by the end
Yeah.
of it.
She was a big opportunist to me.
Yeah, she was very, very manipulative, and like that's the thing. She kept saying like, okay, I'm doing it for these reasons or that reason, but it wasn't really clear if like what she was saying was genuinely like the reason why she was doing things. It could have just been like, I'm into necrophilia kind of, but they just lie there too much for me. I want a dead body that moves.
And I want my father's assistant's brain in it.
Yeah.
Dude, I totally shipped her and Charles. I was like, they're so cute together.
That whole like scene where the time was like, if you had a body like that, then I could love you. I was like, Jesus, bitch. Like,
yeah, I mean, she wasn't particularly shy about what she was. She's like, you know, your brain's all nice and everything like that, but your body, Charles, please, you got to do something about the body.
And he doesn't even look that bad. He just looks like he could maybe like be Gary Sinise's grandpa or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not that bad overall.
And I think to sell her story on that, when she needed the body, the nice strong body and the brains that went with it, because she's like, well, that's truly a daughter of Frankenstein, though, because hey,
obsessed with the
his
body.
brains,
yeah.
And I need his body. I could just kill them both and put merge.
It's kind of like Weird Science, where they're putting all this shit together to Frankenstein their perfect woman. She was basically just doing that back in the 70s with dudes, and it's just like, brain into this body. There we go.
Like, I got this.
Now I can get wet.
Studied surgery. I know what you're talking about.
I did have it on. I got it for. Wait, let me pull up the thing again. So I gave it the honor of best kill for the scene where she seduces the farmhand and is riding him, and Charles comes in and smothers him with a pillow mid-coitus, because I'm just like, that is just so nuts. Like, there are some other great deaths in the other ones too, but I came back to that one because, like, you don't see that often. Like, not a lot of movies go that far.
Right.
And I love the ending too.
Yeah.
Whole castle's on fire. The peasants are rampaging all over everything. What's Lady Frankenstein do? She lays down to have sex amidst all of the flames with her new creation. She's just like, I don't give a fuck about this. Is what I strove for. I've accomplished it. I'm gonna be dead any minute now. Fuck it, let's bang. Well, I guess you guys talked a little bit about the monster and your opinion of it. Like, where on the rankings are you guys putting the monster? If you want to talk a little bit more about the monster, like just the monster himself.
For the monster, I'd probably rank Lady Frankenstein's one at number 2.
Same, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That's ranked movies. That ain't right. What'd you like about the monster?
Go ahead, Kettle.
I mean, it was mainly the look. I was really kind of surprised for like the time and the movie came out and for the detail and everything that it had, and is I don't know, like I don't watch a lot of movies from that time period because like,
Right.
to me they kind of drag on. People had longer attention spans back then. To me,
Yeah, they're very slow, very verbose. There's a
yeah,
lot
my
of sitting
cutoff
around
for
talking.
a lot of movies is like the 80s. If it's before the
Yeah.
80s, it has to be kind of like I have to really like want to go seek it out. But yeah, I thought the monster and the special effects for it were quite good. That's probably my favorite thing about him. I mean, aside from that, he's kind of your standard like just monster. You know?
Monster, Franken
Yeah.
monster.
You got a very good grade in being a monster. Like,
Mhm.
like can you just go around and like squeeze people to death? Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that. On it, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he was yeah, same as Kettle. Like I was just very amazed at how well the makeup was for a 70s movie. Like that's why it was number 2 for me, honestly, because as much as I love Tom Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown, there we go. Like I love him to death, but they basically just threw paste on his face and was like, "There you go be you." And like it was a really cool design. That was probably the coolest part of the movie for me.
Yeah. Fish.
I put it at number 2 as well.
Yeah.
All of those aesthetic reasons. Because it was really cool looking. The other monsters are just kind of so normal looking, like typical monsters. So that was the most outstanding one.
I went a little bit for me. Lady Frankenstein came in 3rd for monster, and it's just the performance was very stiff, very classic Frankenstein, just kind of stiff-limbed, walking around grunting. Which didn't really, I mean, maybe it's because I've seen more of these. Like, it didn't impress me as much. The makeup was cool, though. So, he looks kind of like a conehead.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Gift
Yeah. Yeah, I
from
can
it.
agree with that.
There's a 40-minute time limit on... What?
What?
Uh-oh.
Apparently there's not, because Zoom gifted me more minutes, but Zoom has time limits? What?
I mean, it does also have a paid
They gotta get you somehow.
I use it through work for, but I created a new account for this as well.
Yeah. Well, have to keep an eye on that. It seems fine. It didn't say how much time we have. It just said we lifted the 40-minute thing. Well, happy birthday.
If
it cuts us off, we'll just jump over to Discord, I guess.
Yeah.
What about as far as the Frankenstein? Where did Frankenstein come into the rankings for you guys?
That one was hard for me. And I still don't know if I'm decided on it. But if I had to hot take it, the Frankenstein in flesh, it was. I really enjoyed him. I think he was like the most like Frankenstein to me.
But what about in Lady Frankenstein?
In Lady Frankenstein?
Yeah.
He wasn't there very long.
Well, I mean, I wrap this around
like the lady.
Yeah, both of them. Both of them could factor in together. That's kind of how I took it. Like, if there was more than one monster, they could all factor into best monster. If there's more than one Frankenstein roaming around, they can all factor into your decision.
I was in love with everything Tanya did. So.
Where would you put her? 1 out of 4?
1.
What? Best Frankenstein out of all 4?
I liked her the best.
Fair
seriously, like, she, to me, I mean, I understood her the best too. It's not like I can relate or anything, but I understood her motivation. Like you were saying before, it's because she's so obsessed with doing what's best for her. Her motivation just kept changing. And you can see the wheels turning in her head. I'm like, you're so smart, but you're really, really scary.
Yeah. I'd put her. for me.
Yeah.
As far as like, because I mean, yeah, she was really scary, but the others just the others, I think the movies just stood out more to me. Like I this one just really didn't grab me.
Is it safe to say that this is also your number 4 ranked movie?
Probably, yeah.
Cattle?
I'd have to say number 2, I think.
2.
For Doctor.
Because she's so pretty.
I mean, that's a lot of it, really. And I'm I don't have as much to like analyze against, really, like in terms of the like what is true Frankenstein, whether
right?
or the monster.
Yeah, I mean, this is mostly condensed into these 4 movies.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's, I'm trying to rank them. I'm just kind of like going off of what I guess I liked best, because like I was kind of like, well, you know. But yeah, I'd say for Doctor is number 2.
Yeah. I got Lady Frankenstein number 3 spot. Old man Frankenstein, typical high society loon. Lady Frankenstein, cold, calculating, manipulative, and sexy. Maybe not the best long-term planner.
Yeah.
See, me and her would get along great.
Yeah.
No attention span. It'd be like, all right, let's do it.
She's just like, what's...
Fire? Ah.
Yeah. And, let's see. Fish and Kettle, where would you rank this on the overall movies between 1 and 4?
That's my number 2.
Number 2. Dizzy, hello.
Hello, Disney.
Yeah, I would say probably number 2 as well. So I was like trying to think, like there's so few. I'm like, well, all the factors.
Yeah.
It would help if I would have like really clarified and wrote all the shit down, but I'm kind of.
Yeah, I'm getting
what I feel in my heart in the moment.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's Lady Frankenstein. Let's see. Oh, I guess did it win any of the others? Best kill, best character for you? Any character or categories whatsoever? If you need me to run through them. This includes worst movie, by the way.
I think I wrote best. Oh, no, that was a different one.
I think for me it would probably technically be most forgettable, because like you said, it is all kind of standard aside from just being I Chihuahua Lady Frankenstein. Like, the story itself is not forgettable. When I think back on Lady Frankenstein, I'm going to think of how the monster looked and how Lady Frankenstein looked, and that's probably about it.
Yeah.
So the grave robber goons were kind of fun.
Yeah, they had some fun moments. But is it getting... Anybody getting best kill from this one?
No. There's so many other good kills.
Best kill, I couldn't choose.
Oh no!
I don't know if I have an explicit one. It's definitely not from Lady Frankenstein.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't have to be an explicit one, as long as it's like, you know what, that movie had the best kills overall, or it had one that really stood out, so I'll go with that one. That's fine.
When I was thinking about it, I wrote best kill down, and then I wrote not Ronaldo and put a sad face.
Oh,
oh, we'll get to Ronaldo. Best characters. Anybody for Lady Frankenstein for best characters?
No. She's the hottest, but not the best, I don't think.
Worst movie.
No, definitely not Lady Frankenstein.
Not the worst. What about you, Fish?
No, definitely not the worst.
What about Neff?
For me, just simply because it was so bland. Sorry, I'm trying to get my desk to stand up. Yeah, I would have to say, out of all of them in consideration, it was the worst movie for me. But not that it was a bad movie. It's just out of the 4, it was the least entertaining to me.
Yeah, I mean, even if you have 4 good movies, if you have to pick a worst one.
Yeah, somebody's got to come in at the bottom. It doesn't necessarily mean the movie itself is bad or anything like that, but like, which one is the one? It's just like, if I gotta say.
Lady for me, yeah, honestly, Lady Frankenstein, because like I barely remember anything other than Pretty Lady and Cool Monster.
comfiest? Was it the comfiest movie for anybody?
No.
Was it the scariest for anyone?
No.
I don't really think any of them were particularly scary in my
Yeah.
opinion, but
Most disturbing.
no.
No.
Sleeper hit.
Nope.
No.
Not the most forgettable for Fish? Or no?
Not most forgettable now.
Okay. Best writing.
I didn't really judge any of the
No.
movies on writing too much, so I don't know if I have an opinion on that, but probably not. Like,
Fair enough. Best gore.
no.
No.
Nope. Okay.
Even barely gore. Like,
Yeah, there wasn't much. Aside from the monster himself, there really wasn't all that much gore.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Every movie can be on the bottom. They'd have to make room. Okay. So I guess that's Lady Frankenstein. Any final thoughts from anybody? On that
Really
one
hot
before we
lady,
move on?
cool looking monster for the 70s.
Charles and Tanya forever.
Yeah.
All right, so Flesh for Frankenstein.
This movie.
Oh my god.
This fucking movie.
Fucking opinions.
I have more notes on this one than any of the other movies. So Flesh for Frankenstein, what year was it? Shit, I wrote it down. Where's my freaking notes? Or my
73,
monologue?
I think it was. 73.
1973. It is an acid trip of a flick.
Oh my god.
Frankenstein in a loveless marriage with his wife's sister and his bug-eyed assistant cobbling together hot naked people to make weird monster children
Mm-hmm.
to, I guess, take over the world. It's
He was trying
okay.
to make Aryan Frankenstein.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
was-
Yeah.
It was more Nazi than the Nazi one.
In ways, yeah.
Yes, yeah, that seems fair. Okay, so yeah. I feel like Kettle has thoughts on Flesh for Frankenstein.
I fucking hated it.
Oh.
So much. I won't even lie. Once it turned into like bad softcore porn, about 20 minutes in, I just started looking at my phone. Like, I really, really, really didn't like it. And then I found out it was made in part by Andy Warhol, and everything fucking clicked with me.
This is the thing, right? It's presented as Andy Warhol's Frankenstein, but I tried to actually look up like what he had, like what part he had in the production and
Yeah.
everything like that, and I couldn't find any information.
He just presented it. That's all.
He just
didn't have
released it.
any hand in it.
Yeah,
did
because
look
I
into
know
that.
he didn't
Well, either
write
way,
it, he
slapped
didn't
his name
direct
on
it.
It still made a lot of sense to why I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really an art guy anyway, but I really
It
like all that
is-
avant-garde shit. I'm just like, ugh, give me a fucking break, dude.
It is what it
Coloring on a
is
canvas
for
is not
sure.
art.
Like I had never seen it before. The reason why I threw it on there is because I'd heard
Mm-hmm.
like stories about it, like nothing specific about the movie, but it's probably the weirdest fucking Frankenstein movie that exists. So I'm like, you know what? If we're doing a four banger of Frankenstein movies, like I gotta throw it in there,
Right.
just because it's got some infamy to it, and just how weird it is, and I feel like that's justly deserved.
Yeah.
It's definitely its own type of movie.
It
Is that
sure
the one?
is.
Is that the one that had like the other version of it had like that you could wear the 3D glasses? or
Yeah, it was presented in
whatever?
3D.
Oh, man, I'm glad I found the copy without that because
that would have been a little
that would have made it
eye straining.
I probably would have turned it off if I were not watching it for this. I would have turned it off. Like,
Oh man, better or worse than what was the one you watched in October?
Dracula versus Frankenstein.
Yeah,
I want to say it's worse, but like that one is also they're bad for different reasons. Dracula versus Frankenstein was at least in development hell and has a reason for being bad.
yeah.
Um,
This one was just made
yeah.
the way it was. Like I don't think you could really say it had. I don't know if it had development problems, but it was very clearly someone's vision, and they got that vision out there.
Yeah, but I mean that's really about all I have to say about it, and you can go ahead and mark it down for my worst.
Worst, yeah.
I will say it did. If it's the one I'm thinking, it did have a good kill with like the shear thing. Somebody's head got cut off.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was one of my contenders for best kill when he snips the Serbian guy's head off and the head's like looking around, and his body's flailing about,
That
blood's
was pretty
gushing
cool.
everywhere.
And the licking of stitches was kind of funny, but like I don't know if that's what they were going for.
I don't even know what they were going for with most of that movie.
Yeah.
Fish is very excited.
It's because my favorite line came from this movie.
It's got a great line. I've got so many notes. I said there weren't this many references to Serbia in a Serbian film. Frankenstein's wife / sister, because at that point I was confused about their relationship. Turns out, like, yeah, no, that was his sister wife. Just everything about her wavering accent, her overbearing attitude, shifting into being a horny old lady. Frankenstein's assistant, if his eyes get any wider, they're gonna come bouncing out of his skull. Because that was 90% of his performance was just seeing how big he could make his eyes.
Yeah.
These kids are creepy perverts in training to be serial killers. Those kids were just weird, man. All of them. All two of them. I had no idea, like, what they were just kind of wandering throughout the movie, just, like, watching all this weird, fucked up shit.
Yeah, they did show up a lot for.
Yeah, they were everywhere. They were like peeking in through like some like half mirror thing into their mom's bedroom while she fucks the guy, and I'm just like, what is going on? Ladies and gentlemen, we have dick. We have full frontal male nudity in this film.
Yep,
which
there was some dong hung.
Is rare enough that I feel like it's worth mentioning.
I did notice that when I put it into my Plex that this was an X-rated movie.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Official X-rated, like not like, oh, it's hardcore porn. It's like, no, this.
It's
what was it? Was it before the MPAA, or was it like?
It was before the MPAA came out with NC-17.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Which they came out with NC-17 to distinguish movies that would have gotten an X from actual just porn.
Right.
Even though it doesn't really fucking matter, because if you get slapped with an NC-17, your movie still isn't that marketable.
DOA, yeah.
Yeah, you still can't show it like hardly anywhere in a wide release. So yeah, that's where but yeah, X-rated, full on dick hanging out there. I've got, my God, this woman's armpit slurping. She's fucking gagging herself on his arm stank. That is the most prolonged scene, I think, in cinema history of a woman just with her face buried in a man's armpit, or any human being with their face buried in another human being's armpit, going to town. Like, and it's a long scene, too, or at least it feels very long. It felt like it went on for minutes of her just doing this, and it's just like, that's the whole scene.
That's probably one of the points where I was just browsing on my phone.
Yeah. It's just like that sound constantly for like 2 or 3
glad
minutes.
You missed this movie. I mean, the other ones were fine. This is just the one that was just like,
oh my God. So I meant to take notes during this movie, but I forgot because I just sat there staring at my computer screen, just like,
what is happening?
What is
it's
going
very much
on?
It's very much on the top tier of movies that I've seen, where almost every single moment of the movie is just like, what? And then it does something else, and it's like, wait, what? Like, every moment of that movie is just, what the fuck? Let's see, what else do I got here? No one can get into my husband's lab but him and his assistant, and the children, and the maid, and my boy toy, and me. Everyone got into that lab, despite how sequestered it was, or claimed to be. Everyone was in and out of that fucking lab. I also have, hey, you ever wanted sex so bad you literally ripped the woman's chest open? Otto has, twice. 2 times in the movie he does this. And then the line Fish is referencing, which is honestly one of the all-time best lines ever. I think.
Ever.
To know death, Otto, you have to fuck life in the gallbladder. I think that sums up the movie perfectly all by itself.
One line that made me just as happy as that one, it was 2 girls, 1 man. He must be very powerful. I was like, for the time period, that was perfect.
Frankenstein spying on the fucking guys at the whorehouse. He's just like, no, we can't go in there. It's dirty and wrong. But at the same time, his whole point is like, I want to make these beautiful monsters and fuck and give me children and fuck them myself. Like it was such a weird thing. You looked like you had more to say, Fish.
The Baron looked like John Stamos and Liev Schreiber.
Oh, Udo
Yeah.
Kier. Yeah. See, I got a whole fucking paragraph I wrote about him. Udo Kier's always had a charming campiness to his acting, but he's 1,000% over the top in this one, with his long-winded, rambling bouts of exposition and his bizarre leering. His master plan seems to be to raise a pair of corpses from the dead in order to get them to mate and produce offspring that he can control. He's also completely sexually repressed, only able to get off if he's wrist-deep in a dead woman's internal organs. Which, yeah, that's...
Yeah.
It was a performance.
It definitely was. I feel like I just was not on enough acid for that.
Yeah, I felt like I was on a little bit of acid watching that flick.
It's like it's the 70s. They had to be there. Like.
Yeah. It's a trip of a movie.
I like it because of that.
Yeah, I can see the appeal.
It's such a clash against like such a beautiful, vast background. Like even when they get to the lab.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they have amazing sets.
Pretty lab.
Yeah,
and
these expansive, beautiful sets.
The pony in the carriage in the first scene, like the opening scene, that pony is so cute. I loved it. I was like, I wish that horse was still alive. I want it.
Movie gets 10 out of 10 from Fish just because horse.
I didn't even...
First
You're saying the pony in the opening scene. I'm like, I don't remember a fucking pony. I remember a lot of shit from that movie.
There's a pony bringing a carriage in, and it's
Fair
really,
enough.
really cute.
I gave bonus points to the female monster for lying on that gurney playing dead while Udo gyrates awkwardly on top of her and jams his fist into her ribs without bursting out laughing or telling him to fuck off. Like, because that was another long scene of him just lying on top of her, just jamming his fist into, like, the side of her ribs.
Yeah.
I also have, what the fuck are they wearing to dinner? Girdles with armpit crutches? That was...
The sex in this is what made it the most disturbing movie for me.
Oh, this is most disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with 5 minutes of armpit slurping...
Yeah,
I guess
was
that's
weird.
Fair. And it is in the less conventional sense, but that it was quite disturbing.
Yeah.
The first time that he started doing things to his children, which I guess doesn't surprise me because of his incestual relationship with his sister. I was like, and when he said, "Don't watch me," and the little creeper that's watching him who looks like Dom Monahan. A more dumb Dom Monahan. I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
See, male monster. I wrote he was a dead-eyed, expressionless boar before he had his head cut off, and he's still a dead-eyed, expressionless boar as a walking corpse. That guy had the best vacant stare ever. Like,
yeah.
I wasn't. I'm not sure if he even knew he was in a movie. I think he was just blankly observing the world around him for the entire production.
I believe it. Like that, I just like that. It does get my vote for the most disturbing. Just simply because, like, I was in the middle. Because, like, you know me, I usually have to do something else when I'm doing like I usually have to do something with my hands or something. Like I multitask. I have
Right.
to, otherwise I lose interest. Dude, that movie just had me sitting there slack jawed like almost the entire fucking time.
Yeah,
It
kind of
was
same.
ridiculous. I didn't like it, but it horrified me. I'm just like, I don't really want to watch this ever again. Am I upset that I did? No.
I'm a little bit.
But I don't like it.
Kel's like, you put another piece of shit like Flesh for Frankenstein on one of these curated lists, I'm out. I'm just fucking done with you.
No, look, I mean that's for me. That's part of the gamble, and like
They're
that's
not
part of the
always
reason
gonna
I'm
be-
doing this because I'm not the film guy, and I'm like, all right, show me some shit. Like,
Yeah, and they're not always gonna be winners. Like
no,
Mm.
probably for the most part, the ones that I pick are gonna come from like something I've seen or at least heard of.
mm-hmm.
So I'll probably tend to like gear it towards like, okay, these are movies I saw that I thought were pretty good, but like at the same time, who knows? Everybody's different, and that's where the fun comes in. Where it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, you didn't like it, well, why not?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. It would be boring to come on here and be like, yeah, they were all really good.
They were all really good. There was no worst movie. Nobody
Hashtag
gets
sponsored.
Yeah.
Jesus, like,
All right, let's go down the list. This is getting best kill from anybody.
Yeah. The pull through the fucking chest. and the
Frankenstein's death?
monologues.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
The
so good.
monologues
That
throughout
was
the entire thing. Like that was the shining moment in that movie. I'm like, this is just ridiculous. There is no other way this man could die other than being impaled and then continuing to monologue like a fucking classic villain.
yeah.
yeah, I'd say
For a
that
very
combined with
long time.
With the head cut off thing, it probably does have the best kill as well from me. Because I'm trying to think of anything else from the other ones, and I'm like,
Fish.
Again, my best kill choice was not Ronaldo. Like I didn't really have a best kill, because they all entertained me equally in very different ways. It's hard for me to choose, honestly. I can't. I'll be sitting here go, well, this is the best kill.
yeah.
No, wait, this one.
That's why I'm
No,
kinda
Well,
just throwing it
you
out there as
do
my
you
choice.
do like
I'm yeah, those are
overall
two that I can think of,
movie,
yeah.
overall movie with like the best kills.
Not this one.
Not this one.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'll have to think on that one, but it's not this one.
Best characters.
No.
I don't think I liked any of them, even the armpit licker.
We don't have to like the characters.
I don't think they were good characters.
Okay,
They
fair
were
enough.
relatable.
Fair
They
enough.
weren't very well. Other than
I'm
that
happy to see
scene-
some armpit fetish representation in our media.
Yeah. It's about goddamn time.
Yeah.
So nobody for best characters.
No.
Worst movie.
Yep.
I got
Easy.
yep.
That one's fucking easy peasy for me.
Neff's already got her pick in for that.
Mhm.
And Fish, worst movie?
No, not for me.
It was for me, and it's strictly on a technical type of thing. Like it's a mess. Like of the movies, of all of the 4 movies we watched, I thought that one was the worst made. Not
Yeah.
that I didn't have a lot of fun watching it, but it was the worst made for me. Comfiest.
Nope.
No.
Uncomfiest.
So it's your most disturbing?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say so.
Not comfiest for Neff or Fish?
No.
Mm-mm.
Scariest?
No.
No Fish?
No.
Sleeper hit.
Nope.
Nah.
Most forgettable? I guess
Oh
Fish.
God, no.
No, I won't forget it.
Yeah. Best writing? Full no.
Full
No,
no.
no.
Best gore?
Yes, I did put yes down for that because That crap with the stitches was pretty gory.
Nose from everyone else?
Yeah, nose from here.
Okay. On the rankings list, 1, 2, 3, or 4?
4.
4 for you.
Yep. I mean,
It
it's the
was-
worst. It has to.
Yeah.
It's my worst movie, number 1.
I mean,
Yeah, it's definitely 4 for me.
I put it as worst for me. It's not number 4 in my rankings. So,
All right.
It's number 4 for me too, but it's only because of going up against the other movies, like,
Right.
as far as my favorite.
Yeah.
now where are you putting it, F?
It's at 3.
3.
Yeah. It was at least more entertaining and more memorable than Lady Frankenstein, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Monsters.
They were just people. That's all they were.
The monsters were people all
Oh
along.
god.
That's a
People.
flat 4 across the board for everybody,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was for me too, because I'm just like, they don't look particularly like they're attractive, but like they're not really doing anything.
Mm-mm.
Technically, all the monsters are just people, but these were.
They
people
they
who were
mostly
having
just
surgery.
looked like
Yeah.
people.
It reminded
and
me of Hamlet, honestly. The whole thing reminded me of Hamlet.
Shakespearean.
Yeah.
What about Frankenstein? Where's he coming in at?
4. I mean,
4?
everything for me with this movie is bottom of the list.
I'll take a 3 on him.
It was Lady Frankenstein was 4 for me, right?
For you, Lady Frankenstein was 3.
3.
And you can switch them up if you're like, you know what, on second thought.
You know what? Just because of the monologue, he gets 3. Lady Frankenstein gets 4.
All right. Final thoughts.
Just oh my god, please no.
That sums it up, I guess.
Yeah.
Please God, no.
Please God no.
All right, so The Bride, 1985.
Aw.
Longest one, very different in terms of. It's probably the least horror movie
Yeah.
of all of them. It's more semi-romantic drama.
Yeah.
And it was kind of 2 movies, right? Like, 'cause
It
you
really
had
was.
What's going on at the castle, and then the adventures of the monster and Ronaldo, which is what I'm most interested the entire fucking movie.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's crazy. The movie's called The Bride. It's supposed to be about the bride of Frankenstein and everything like that. No, fuck that. The entire movie is basically Frankenstein and Ronaldo go on adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
that is so much a better part of that movie than anything
Yep.
going on with The Bride, in my opinion.
And I'm glad you also in your monologue pointed out that it was Sting, not the wrestler, because when I just first saw it on paper, that's where my brain went, and I was like, "This is gonna rule." And then I saw that it was the singer, and I was like, "All right."
Yeah.
But yeah, surprisingly, I quite enjoyed it. I mean, mainly for the not Sting and Bride part, but like, it's still really enjoyable.
Yeah. Nev?
This was the comfiest movie for me.
Same, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
comfiest.
Comfiest.
Also.
Yeah,
I
also same.
watched it twice.
Oh wow.
I'll have you know. Yeah, I watched it once by myself, and then Boone needed to watch it. So I was like, "Fuck it, I'll watch it again." It was just as comfy the second time. Definitely.
There's a
I
cat
put
in
that
here.
on my request list. What? Which one?
The little one.
Oh
She's
no.
jumped into my lap out of nowhere.
Oh no. Do you want me to come get her?
Nah, she's fine right now.
Okay. But like, you can put this on when I'm sick. I will be happy with that. I just
Yeah.
pause it before Ronaldo's killed.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't want to see.
Yeah, just
Ronaldo
assume they
die.
go and do circus things and live
Yeah.
happily ever after
Yeah.
and fuck everything else.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
like, I love Clancy Brown. Love.
Oh, Clancy Brown is great. I think this is
love
like
that man.
in a career full of great performances. I think this is Clancy Brown's greatest performance.
Really? Because I thought he now granted I've only seen him in 2 roles now, but like I thought he did not that he did bad in this one, but I thought he did really fucking well as Brother Justin in Carnival.
Oh no, him in Carnival is great.
Yeah, like
I like this a little
scares
bit
me in
more.
Carnival.
Just the evolution
Yeah.
and everything, and because like he shows up at the start, and he is the monster. And you get to see over the progression of the movie, he becomes more and more human to the point at the end, like all the scars and stuff like that. He doesn't even look like a monster. He's got his hair combed, and he's like dressed nicely, and he walks a little bit more naturally.
Yeah.
Like he's like an actual human being by the end of it, which is a really cool transition.
And I like that comparison to how quickly she became a human being.
Yeah, because she becomes human very quickly.
Very quick. Like the beginning, I was writing down what words she started out with and how they progressed into sentences and meaning. And then all of a sudden, I mean, she still had stages, but she reached it much quicker than he did.
Yeah.
And I think
Which
that's
was
because
sweet.
Frankenstein took more time with her because he wanted her as his plaything.
Yeah, there's something. I don't know.
While doing the whole like, I don't know where you came from.
Yeah.
I'd send you back if I could, I swear.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Uh-huh.
Let's see what I have for this. Resurrecting the dead involves a lot of intricate cloth bondage and provocative corpse posing.
It does.
And sand.
Lots of sand, yeah. I have Ronaldo, actually best character ever.
Yes.
Yep.
He is.
Ronaldo is
my best
amazing.
character.
I love Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good. The whole movie's like a side-by-side comparison between teaching with positive and negative reinforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Because Frankenstein he was very strict, he was very cold, and Ronaldo's just like, no, not like that, you can do it, like here, like this.
Yeah, like with the where they're eating the chicken.
Yeah, he's like, you never heard of sharing before? And
Because at first the monster takes it and he's all like, blah, 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 and he's like, no, I want something. And then he's like, oh, he gives him the whole thing.
He's just like, oh, you're hungry? Here, have it, eat it.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I just want my share.
Yeah.
You can,
Like,
we can
I'm
both
tiny.
eat.
Like, I only need a little bit.
Yeah.
Only a little bit. Oh, Ronaldo's so cute.
And in such a Ronaldo actually cared about what, he asks him, what's your dream? Everybody's got one. And Frankenstein could give 2 shits what she wants. You're gonna ride horses and be pretty. That's
even as he's saying, like, I want to train her to be like, an equal to man, and I want her to be a free-thinking, independent woman, the likes of which has never been seen before. And then all he gives her is rules and restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And when she starts trying to break free from that, he just freaks the fuck out.
Though there were cute parts to their relationship, because when they're in the carriage after she freaks out at the party.
Oh, she screams at the cat.
I love the screaming at the cat.
The screaming at the cat scene was very good.
And then she's like, I thought it was a little lion. You never taught me about cats.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
I mean, if the movie had more segments like that, it would have felt a lot more balanced and everything like that. Because if it has a draw point, it's a down point. It's the fact that it's called The Bride. You don't really give a fuck about the bride so much, and a lot of her scenes are just very standard, quick cutaways to okay, and now they're riding horses.
Mm-hmm. The
they
end. Should have been able to make the connection, speaking of that, to the 2 monsters.
Yeah, because they've got that weird psychic connection.
Better way.
Yeah.
I think I spent more time on it.
Yeah, that could have been developed more, I think. Because it comes in at weird point, like she's spinning around and suddenly Victor's he's like, oh, I'm dizzy for no reason. Or she's upset and suddenly he's crying for no reason. But there was really no deeper explanation or anything aside from oh, they're both dead, resurrected beings. They didn't really explore that so much. It really felt like once they got Clancy Brown and Ronaldo together, they're like, well, this is the movie, clearly.
Yeah.
This is what we're actually doing.
When they first meet up, he's like, yeah, well, why don't you put me on your shoulders?
Yeah.
And he just plops him up there, and he's got his his little friend that I also called out. He looks like a bit like a mix between a small Rob Schneider and Robin Williams had a little baby.
Absolutely. When he first showed up, I was like, see, everybody just needs a hobbit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool because Ronaldo, like, it's very clear that Ronaldo is to some extent manipulating and taking advantage of Victor, but at the same time, not to like a negative point. He's like, I'm a little guy in a big world. You're a very big guy, and you can benefit me greatly. But at the same time, I'm not going to treat you like an object or a servant or anything like that.
Right.
We're in this together. We can be friends. Which is interesting too. Let's see. I've got AKA My Fair Reanimated Lady, which was basically what the bride side of things was, which is maybe why it didn't really stand out that much. Which is a shame because I think Jennifer Beals did a great
She did.
performance. Like I thought she did very well with what she was given, which honestly wasn't that much.
No.
I have
just looking at the Wikipedia page. It had a budget of $13 million, box office $3.6 million.
Ooh.
So not even Sting in the '80s could.
Yeah.
Make
I
that
can see
happen.
this being a weird promotional sell. Like it's kind of strange. Like I wonder what the gestation of this whole thing was because it's kind of a pseudo sequel to the original Frankenstein movie, but it's not like a sequel to a Frankenstein movie in this franchise or anything like that. It's standalone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this weird kind of horror romance period piece drama thing.
It's a response or a sequel to Meatloaf's I Would Do Anything for Love.
And it's headlined by Sting. I guess, Sting, maybe it was just Sting was like, I want to play Frankenstein. Make me a movie where I play Frankenstein and I get to woo a beautiful woman. And they're like, all right, we'll do it, but we're going to make you a total dick.
Oh, poor Sting. He doesn't act very
I mean,
well.
He's
fit, like right into it, man. With that outfit and his hair and shit, it's like, all right, yeah,
That was
he fit
80s hair.
he fit the role very well. It's just
yeah.
the role was very
weird,
one-dimensional. It was just like, okay, Frankenstein, you're a dick.
It's a clear case of like musicians like stay in your lane sometimes, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
He acted like a total rock star. And his friend,
Yeah.
I loved his friend so much more than I loved him.
His friend had charisma, at the very least.
Awesome.
And his friend was at least, like, not deluding himself or anyone else and, like, what he wants. He's just like, I like getting laid.
yeah, he's like, I like it.
I don't give a fuck about women. I just like having my dick wet.
What was that scene, like, she like corrects him on like a book author
Yes.
or something.
Yeah.
And he's just like, see what happens when you let them do things. It's like, well, he's not lying about who he is, at least.
Yeah, he was very comfortable with what he was, where Frankenstein was just deluding himself and just very grumpy the whole time as he was deluding himself.
Yeah.
Although
fucking threw the book at him.
Yeah.
He's
Literally.
like, man, I'm gonna burn it now.
But the book thing raises an interesting point because the book they're talking about is Prometheus Unbound by Shelley, which is Frankenstein. It's the novel Frankenstein. So in this Frankenstein movie, the novel Frankenstein as a work of fiction, I guess, exists.
I've thought
That's weird.
about that too. Like when you see other movies that take place in like present day,
Yeah.
and you see like real life actors and stuff. So it's like, okay, well that means there's a universe in which all those actors exist, but the actors playing the roles in the movie are not those actors.
Like the Ocean's 11 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
So, but like it's just a cutaway thing. It's just like a small little snippet of her correcting him on something.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just casually tossed aside. It's like, well, no. You can't establish the fact that Frankenstein, the novel, exists in this Frankenstein movie without addressing that. Was it written about this guy? Like, what? Was it his father they were writing about? Like, you can't start mid-story with a monster already existing and Frankenstein already having done Frankenstein stuff, and then introduce the Frankenstein novel and not just have it lie there. Like, this doesn't... How does this gel together? How does this make any sense? people who read books don't end up in movies. I think they were just going for a reference and
Yeah.
being like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if?
Talking about avant-garde. Again, I was really amused by the horses in this movie.
there were plenty of horses in this movie.
Especially his friend Charles's horse at the end, who was just like, pet me, goddammit, just pet me.
I remember, like, this was a movie that, for me personally, I got it in like a 4-pack DVD set, and I was like, all right, I've never seen this before. I put it on, and I'm watching it, and as I'm watching it, I'm like, wait a minute, I've seen this movie before. I've seen this movie a lot. Because apparently when I was younger, they showed it a lot on some movie channel, and I would always tune in. And for me, again, like, I don't think I watched the full thing, but I watched the parts with Victor and Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Going to the carnival, and I'm like, I love this fucking movie. What the fuck? So that's what it's called. And Sting's in it. What the fuck?
Not only
So-
Sting, but Carrie Elwes too.
Carrie Elwes is in it briefly. With his waxen good looks. That they put a scar on. Oh.
I forget what it was, but what ridiculous? How far ridiculously far did the monster and Ronaldo have to walk to the carnival? Like,
The carnival was in Budapest. I don't know if they ever established like where they started, but it seemed like he got back to the graveyard area very quick. There's like that weird cut.
Was very quick.
Yeah, there's that weird cut there, like shortly after Ronaldo dies, and he kills the guy at the carnival and freaks out and runs off. And then it does this like fade out, and it fades back in, and he's like sleeping in that little cemetery area.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just right there.
Dealt with time very oddly in this movie.
Yeah.
It was hard to keep up with how quick time was passing. I didn't know how much time passed between scenes, so again, something they could have paid a little more attention to, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's anything that hurt the movie overall. I just thought it was more funny, just like,
but it's
I'm walking to Budapest, and it's like, aren't y'all in like London?
Yeah, like where are you now? And the movie never really, at least that I saw, the movie never really answered like where they were.
They made a connection to her in Budapest too.
They did, didn't they?
Where it was. It was toward
Wasn't she
the end.
found near Budapest or something? Or supposedly found near Budapest?
Yeah. When she was talking to the monster at the end. Or not at the end, but like when she goes to this cemetery thing.
Yeah.
The crematorium. And they're talking, and he says something about Budapest, and they make a connection to her somehow there.
And then the movie doesn't really necessarily end. It just cuts to the credits and a montage of them going to Venice.
Yeah.
And then they throw Ronaldo back up on there to have the final word, because this movie knew who the best character was.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely was, yeah. It would be Ronaldo, but I like the movie though. Like,
I love the
it was
movie.
Really good.
All right, let's see. Best kill. Well, I mean, the only person who doesn't have best kill locked in is Fish, and I know this isn't going to be best kill for Fish because Ronaldo died, and it was like one of only 3 deaths in the movie. Unless she liked seeing the guy who got Ronaldo killed impaled on spikes.
That's true.
And
also,
gushing blood.
There was Sting's death. So
Sting getting chucked off of a castle. Yeah.
Whee! Frankenstein likes to chuck things.
Yeah, he's a chucker. Best characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a casual stroll to Antarctica on your way to Norway by way of Milwaukee.
Yeah, you know.
Is that where you're going on vacation, never?
Yeah. He's got his travel plans all lined up. Worst movie? Fish doesn't have a worst movie pick yet.
I do. I was waiting till we got to it.
Okay.
I don't think it's
so
because
not The Bride.
Yeah, I don't think it's because it's bad, but
Yeah.
it's just for me it was the most
Everybody's got
forgettable.
comfiest movie locked in. Scariest.
Yes.
This was your scariest?
Yes.
Because it made you
Ronaldo.
think of Ronaldo dying.
No, it was my scariest because like the it gave me the same feeling as I got when I read Shelley's book. It was actually closest to Shelley that I thought.
Yeah.
And it's that creepiness of, ew, this isn't supposed to be alive. Like, you shouldn't be playing God. Stop that.
So Fish is the only one for scariest?
Yeah, it didn't creep me out at all or scare me.
Yeah, that's fair. Sleeper hit.
Yes.
Yes.
That was mine.
Yes from everyone?
Mhm.
Yeah, because just like looking at it the way
no,
it was.
Okay.
No, it's not my sleeper hit.
What's
Because
that?
after I made the association of like, oh, it's the singer's thing, and I was like, this is gonna be like.
This is gonna be a
I
rough
didn't
one.
have very high hopes for it.
Especially coming after Flesh. You're like, oh god, no, not again.
No, I definitely didn't think it was.
I'm
gonna
tapping
be worse
out.
than that. No. But I was quite skeptical, and for me, definitely hits the definition of my sleeper choice.
Okay.
I think I messaged Boone and I said, I don't think I've ever seen Sting act in anything more than 30 seconds or for one of his movies.
Yeah, the only other thing movie I can think of that Sting was in was he played the main character's dad in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and he's got like maybe 2 or 3 scenes. And he's about as expressive in that as he is in this. Although in Lock, Stock, he's got more of a Sam Neill smirk on at all times. I thought it was Sam Neill the first time I saw that movie. I'm like, is that fucking Sam? Dr. Alan Grant? Is that you? Nope. It's Sting. Most forgettable Fish?
No.
Okay. Best writing?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I'd give that the best writing.
Best gore?
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah, there's not much
Yeah.
gore.
Mine went to Flash.
Although there was that severed head, which was actually a person's head, like jutting up at the beginning, just bubbling blood. That was pretty cool.
That was really cool.
And that half woman that was in the jar. Like, there was some good, like, creature special effects right at the start, but after that, it kind of got very,
It's almost kid-friendly. Almost.
It's got
Yeah,
Bush.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's almost.
Yeah, you can get away with a lot back then because I saw it was like
Yeah.
PG-13. I'm like, oh yeah, that's when you could actually put some shit into. Those
Yeah,
movies.
they've got visible nipples and, like, completely naked lady standing there with her bush and ass hanging out. So that's best score. Okay, so rankings.
I think that one's my number one.
That's your number
Yep.
one.
Same.
Number 2 for me.
How about best or 1 through 4 of Monster or Monsters?
Yeah. My
He,
headphones.
what did we say for monsters? I think he was my favorite.
Your number one.
Uh-huh.
What did I rank my other things?
You've got Lady
There's so much
Frank.
ranking.
Yeah, you got Lady Frankenstein in the number 2 spot and Flesh in the number 4 spot. And you can remove them around as we
Yeah.
go along if you want.
For the monster, I would probably say, and this is from the monster, purely the monster perspective, because I did like the character, but he wasn't as he grew, he wasn't as much of a monster. So I would probably say 3.
Okay.
Because at the end, he was people, kind of.
He was people, kind of. And Neff?
He's number 2 for me, simply because of that progression.
Okay. Well, you've got Lady Frankenstein in number 2 right now, so you want to move that up or down.
What's my number 4?
Flesh.
What's my number 3?
You don't have a number 3.
Okay, then Flesh down to 3.
Or Lady Frankenstein?
Yeah, Lady Frankenstein down to 3. And then yeah, 2 is Clancy Brown. Sorry, I'm getting my Frankenstein and my doctor, like my Frankenstein
Yeah, the
and
monster and the
confused.
doctor, yeah. Well, speaking of the doctor, rank of Frankenstein.
So we're gonna.
Cattle?
Oh.
Of the Doctor,
Yeah.
do I have a number 3?
You do not. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's number 3. Because as we've already said, the movie was more about the monster and Ronaldo than
Yeah.
Sting and his lady.
Fish?
2.
F? Oh,
2.
she's also 2.
Also, I have to quickly take a break.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Oh, I got a cat.
Oh no.
Look at this fucking thing.
Oh, hello.
Oh, she purring.
Her factory is open for business.
I would like some purrs.
Can you hear it?
Oh, there was a
Oh
little bit,
my
yeah.
god. I can
Oh,
hear
yeah.
that.
Buzz.
She's like, what's going on, guys?
You're taking a train. Very scenic this time of year. Where are you going? Go down. Go down there.
She's going places.
Now, let me queue up. Where are my notes on? There they are. Oh. You gotta be on the lap. Or on the desk. You're like, this is my time to shine now, motherfucker. Actually, I got a better idea. Go, no, not the desk. Go down to your bed. Curl up in your bed. All right, we back.
We back.
So we got the final Franken movie, Frankenstein's Army. Wherein a team of Russian soldiers bring a camera along to go investigate some weird village to find it deserted, aside from a lone crazy scientist and his collection of monstrosities that he's made out of Nazi soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one was pretty fucking cool. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the found footage part. Like, I kind of felt like some of the in-between shit was kind of boring.
Right.
And when them monsters were out killing motherfuckers, loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it definitely had, I think, some of the coolest monsters, just
Yeah.
because of the whole, like, I don't know, the industrial.
The fusion.
Like
yeah.
the one guy that had the, like, clampy jaw face.
Yeah.
Was fucking awesome. There was the airplane propeller guy. Like,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, propeller head. Yeah.
Like, I had some
The lady,
fucking
the
monsters.
lady who was like a human head stitched to a fucking teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, so many good things.
Yeah. So that for me, that one's definitely got best gore. I don't know what else I haven't marked yet. Numbers wise, it fits into whatever I haven't chosen yet, I guess. But yeah, this one I think the story was kind of weak, but as far as just like the killing and the gore and stuff, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
This
What
one
did
was
you
my
think?
top movie. Top movie. I loved this movie. I love found footage though. So
Yeah.
Best gore.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever else I haven't put at number one, that's number one. Basically. Like I loved the shit out of this movie. I was creeped out by it.
Mm-hmm.
The body mod, like the body horror is just like it makes me realize like, oh man, I love it so much. And It was very. I want to know who did the special effects. I need to Google this.
Yeah, I don't know, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't like K&B or whatever K&B is turned into. I don't know who did the effects on that. I should have looked it up.
I also liked the weird little like little. It looks like a. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was the little thing with legs that was like playing the radio and had the swastika on it. I was kind of like,
oh yeah, it's like little trash can guy looking guy.
Little, like,
yeah,
Nazi trash can radio guy.
Yeah,
like, hobbling along wherever the doctor would go.
Oh yeah, but by the end of it, when you're actually in his lab and you're just seeing all these things, there's just like so many. It's like the Mos Eisley Cantina of just weird Franken monsters.
Yeah, the monsters were fucking superb. Like, I love
they
them.
really were. What was it? That you mentioned it. The teddy bear.
Yeah, teddy bear
with the
lady.
teddy bear head. Oh my god, that I looked at that and I had to pause it for a second because I was just like, that is so fucking cool.
It's cool and it's fucking eerie as hell. And
it is.
There's you kind of have to like read through the credits to get like deeper because it's found footage, so they can't really like do a lot of exposition and explain a lot of things. There's a lot of shit you just see.
Yeah.
But judging by the credits and hints from the credits, the teddy bear monster creature, that was Frankenstein's mom. Yeah.
I didn't think it was a bad movie.
Right.
I absolutely loved it.
Mm.
But recognizing that it was found footage right away.
Right.
I like found footage, but it has to keep me looking at it because otherwise I'm kind of like, okay, I could just listen to this like a podcast.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that was the parts that, I started to get kind of bored at.
So this is why this ranked the lowest on a lot of things for me. But other than that, like everything you guys mentioned is all things that I was like, oh, hey, cool. And that's where it caught my attention, but a lot of it was like...
I feel like it would have been better as a little bit shorter of a film. I mean, it was already only like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But, like, you probably could have shaved off 20 minutes, to be real. Like...
There's
I like the boring in between, so...
Yeah, it doesn't bother me so much.
It's got to build suspense, and I get that. But I guess, like, with a name like that, and just based on the cover art and stuff, I was like, all right, I know what's coming, like, let's get to it.
Yeah.
So the costume design was by Hannah Rambova. The makeup department was Thomas Ketchup.
Ketchup?
Ketchup.
Yeah, Ketchup. And Teresa Prakharova.
Okay.
Yeah. Special effects was Carola Burkoff. Let's see if there's one specially prop builder, Beth. Special effect. It's a bunch of German people. I feel
makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I skimmed the Wikipedia article for it. I think it's like what is it, like Polish or like Czech or something, like made or like some kind of collaboration. I think.
Mm-hmm.
You guys made a cool discovery about. Well, Neffy did.
Yeah. So have you seen Gallivant Kettle?
Oh yeah.
I don't think so.
Fudge. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. You need to watch it.
Yeah, Gallivant is great TV. It's only like 2 seasons. They're not particularly long seasons, but it is phenomenal. It's a musical comedy. So I'm saying a musical comedy is phenomenal.
Okay.
When I first started watching it, I binged through both seasons in a single sitting. But the main guy is very like fairy tale type stuff, but also like lampooning kind of fairy tale stuff. So the main character is this good looking hero type, and he's also the main soldier guy from Frankenstein's army, which Neff. She's like, why does this guy look so familiar? I'm like, I don't know who the fuck he is. She's like, oh, I know. And she looked him up. She's like, it's fucking Gallivant. I'm like, oh my god, it is.
Yeah,
Holy fuck, it's Galavan. Because I had never seen, outside of Galavan, I had never seen him before in anything else.
Yeah, so I was excited by that discovery.
Nice.
One of my favorite lines came from this one, though.
Oh.
Only the Nazis would think of something like that when they're talking about repurposing people.
Yeah. The thing I really enjoyed about it was, I mean, it's low budget, but I think it uses its budget well. I think you see all of the money whatever money they had for it is all on the screen. The found footage angle, like I dig found footage stuff, so it wasn't a turn off for me or anything like that. And I'm like, all right, like you got me a little locked in on this. It's a found footage period piece though, because it takes place in World War II, which always raises the question of like, well, how the fuck do they have like such good technology and HD shininess from something that's supposed to be World War II?
I mean,
which is
look at what they did with those people.
Right, but it's a little bit of a disconnect. But the thing the movie did that I liked, and they didn't really focus on it, like they didn't really draw any attention to it, but they do have a moment, Braxy. They do have
the tail swoosh by.
They do have a moment or two where it's specifically pointed out, like, oh, it's some kind of new experimental camera, which is how he's getting audio with, because back then a lot of the audio was recorded separate.
Oh yeah, one of the guys did ask, like,
yeah, I think Frankenstein said, "Oh, is that one of those new cameras? You're recording audio as well? That's amazing."
Yeah.
So they at least, like, you know, is it gonna hold up in court, this explanation? Absolutely not. But they at least addressed it, and they're like, okay, it's a specialized camera. It's a new specialized camera that's able to do this. Okay, that's all I need. Just acknowledge it. That's okay. I'll take you at your
stuff
word.
Like that, I just kind of suspend my disbelief. It's
like, yeah,
I mean, they're making like mechanical killer things. Like,
mm-hmm.
I'll accept they had a camera in 1945.
Yeah, I'm willing to suspend my disbelief kind of naturally. But if the movie goes out of its way to like at least point it out, it'll be like, all right,
sure, yeah,
we're aware this is like an issue, so we're addressing this in the movie as a plot point. It's like, okay, that's cool. That's all you need to say. You didn't need to go on like a 20-minute diatribe about like this specialized camera has these features and da-da-da-da-da. No, it's not necessary. But just saying the words like, oh, it's a special new camera. Okay, cool. We're moving on. It was all very practical. I think there may have been a few instances of CG in the movie, but for the most part, all the creatures and everything, they're all practical. People in suits and on wires and shit like that, which that gets a lot of kudos from me, especially in a more modern film.
Because that movie's going to look the same, like it's still going to look good down the line.
Yeah, it's still going to look just as good in 10 years.
I feel like low budget movies have to do that because they can't afford like the super expensive CG and then it looks like dog shit.
Yeah, absolutely. So like they took the time doing the practical effects, which come across very, very good. The people felt like, you know, genuine people, a weird like little assortment of soldiers and everything like that. And it starts out, you know, they got the initial premise set up of like what they're doing and them going in and making a movie for promotional wartime propaganda stuff. And then it does this like little slow burn thing for a minute where they get to the town and it's just desolate and everything's missing. And they find a pile of burned nuns or whatever. It's just, it kind of slowly pulls you in where it's just, for a minute there, it's like a weird ghost town type thing that's just completely desolate. Until suddenly it's not, and there's freaking weird robo monsters fucking everywhere around every corner. That winds up making it have this it felt a lot to me in certain way, like once it got going to that point, it felt a lot like a horror house walkthrough. Like you're going around a corner, something jumps out at you and buzzes a chainsaw on your face. Like it felt like a horror walkthrough, only with a plot and characters, and so they can actually rip people to pieces and everything like that.
Actually, one
Um,
of the notes that I made was that the humming in the lab during that whole thing was more eerie than like the woman screaming sexually.
yeah, yeah. So, and it just follows it through, and then finally you get a little tease of him at first. You get up to the climax where Carl Roden comes in and just is completely batshit insane, but not in the way that Udo Kier's in Flesh. Like, he was just completely over the top, like manic all over the place. He's a more reserved, creepier Frankenstein, because it's like you can tell that he's brilliant just as easily as you can tell he's a psychotic butcher that's lost all sense of reality. But it's not in your face. It's just he's kind of a casual dude that's talking
Right.
about sewing a Nazi and a Soviet soldier's brain together to make the perfect unification and end the war.
Yeah, which is why he kind of won number one for me, because he's just so unsettlingly insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but calm at the same time. I'm just like, man, if I ran into that in real life, I'd be a little scared.
Yeah, because at first he presents himself as like some farmhand,
Yeah.
and it's just like, all right, this guy's nothing. Like, who is he? He doesn't matter. Come to find out, he's the dude that's behind all this shit.
Right.
But yeah, no, I saw it on, I think, Netflix originally a couple years ago, and I was like, this is like really fucking good. So yeah, let's see. What do we get? Best kill? Fish still needs best kills.
No, I said best kill was Sting getting thrown.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you had or
Yeah.
not. Okay. Everybody's got best characters locked in. Worst movie for Fish?
Yeah, and again, not because it was bad, because I did enjoy it, but
So
Gotta
what?
it's also my most forgettable because I just half of the time I found myself drifting the other way.
Okay. Let's see. Who else? Scariest movie for Neff Kettle?
I would call that one my scariest.
Neff?
It's this one.
Okay.
Just assume anything I don't have number one for is this one.
Okay, so sleeper hit.
Yes.
That fills out the categories. Let's see. Well, I guess Fish, you would have this in ranked movies. This would be number 3 for you.
No, it's yes. I'm sorry, it was number 3 because Flesh was 4, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And same for you, Kettle.
For what now?
Ranked movies.
Yeah, that one was my. I think I have 3 left.
Yeah.
Number 3 left. Yeah, that was my number 3.
I'm just because it's obvious like where this one's gonna slot in. I'm just confirming. Fish ranked monster or ranked monsters number 3 for you on this one.
Correct.
Ranked Frankenstein's number 4 for you, Fish.
Mm-hmm.
And ranked Frankenstein Kettle number 1.
I think in a way, like I don't have like a whole lot of opinion on a lot of the doctors, but just like from the crazy scientist perspective, and like he made those motherfuckers like
Right.
He's the craziest scientist. Like he's not just trying to bang, like he's trying to exterminate.
So many, yeah. Outside of this one, I feel like every Frankenstein and every other one was just like really looking for some sex, some weird necro sex. Yeah, that's everything filled out. Now I got to do the points thing.
Oh snap.
Let's see for me, because I forgot to include my own as we went along. For me, I had best kill Lady Frankenstein, her riding the farm boy while he gets smothered. Best characters, I had Flesh for Frankenstein, because you know what? They were the most memorable characters for sure out of all of them. It was close between that and The Bride. And honestly, just how insane the characters were in Flesh for Frankenstein kind of tipped it over for me. Worst movie I had Flesh for Frankenstein because I think it was the worst made of them all. Comfiest I had Bride. I think we were all in agreement on that one.
Yeah.
Scariest and most disturbing I had Frankenstein's Army because it's got a lot of good jump scare moments without being like cheap jump scares. And it's probably
and of all the monsters, like that's the one.
Yeah, the monsters were the creepiest for sure, and just in terms of like everything that the Frankenstein's trying to do in that one, like it was kind of the most disturbing because of the wartime imagery and just all like the implications of the things he was doing.
You can very much believe of just like if that shit was possible, the Nazis would be doing it.
Oh yeah, for
up.
sure.
So it was very believable in that.
Yeah. Sleeper hit for me was The Bride. Most forgettable, Lady Frankenstein. Best writing, I had The Bride. Another one we all kind of agreed on. And best score, I had Frankenstein's Army. And then my ranking, my 1 through 4 ranking. 1, Frankenstein's Army. 2, The Bride. 3, Flesh for Frankenstein. 4, Lady Frankenstein. Monsters, I got number 1, The Bride, just because I love that performance. Like, he may not be the most monstery of the monsters, but I think it was the most captivating performance. Although it was a tough one between that one and Frankenstein's Army, which was my number 2, just because the creative design in Frankenstein's Army for the monsters was just out of this world. 3, Lady Frankenstein, and then 4, Flesh for Frankenstein, because they were just normal-looking, dull-eyed fucks. Ranked Frankenstein's number 1, Frankenstein's Army, because I think that was the best performance and the creepiest performance. 2, Flesh for Frankenstein, because I like some over-the-top camp. 3, Lady Frankenstein, because she's very pretty. And 4, The Bride, because, you know what, Sting is just a dick. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Or at least in that movie. He was just an outright asshole. Like, he wasn't really doing anything all that interesting to me. And then, yeah, I did the ranked body counts. Lady Frankenstein, Frankenstein's Army. It's questionable. Frankenstein's Army might arguably have a higher death toll, because if you started counting just dead bodies lying around, it's by far, it's way over the 13 I had it listed at. I chose to not include bodies that were already dead and just go with people you see die on camera.
Yeah. Because otherwise you'd have to start counting the nuns in the pile.
Yeah, like it would be a nightmare. Especially with it being found footage and jumping around. My score might be off on that by like 1 or 2. Like at the start, you might have seen some people die in like the battles at the very beginning. I don't know. But I think 13 is pretty accurate. Lady Frankenstein had 16 dead bodies in it. People were dying left and right in that fucking movie. They were getting naked, fucking, and dying left and right. Let's see. Flesh for Frankenstein is number 3. What did they have? 7 deaths. And then Bride was at the bottom with only 3.
We're not going to count one of those.
I mean, he
really
died. He died. He's dead as hell. Ronaldo's
Also,
fucking dead. Also,
I can make it a little bit more depressing.
No, it's easy. So
the actor that played him killed himself in 1990.
Oh, I didn't know he killed himself. No. I knew he had died.
Yep.
Wow, that's even more depressing. Damn.
Yep.
Anyway, let's talk about something that's not depressing. How much sex people had in these movies. Flesh for Frankenstein, no surprise, at the very top. What did I count? 6 individual sex scenes. Lady Frankenstein right behind it with 4. And then The Bride and Frankenstein's Army, both 0. Nobody has sex in it. I put Bride in the number 3 spot because The bride came the closest to people fucking, and you kind of saw people smooching and getting ready to have sex.
Well, and you know, at the end of the movie when they go off together, it's like
they're fucking, yeah. So like it had at that point with a tied score of 0 apiece. I went with the one that had the more sexual eroticized atmosphere.
Yeah, there was nothing sexy about the army.
No.
No.
So yeah.
I mean, maybe to Cronenberg it might have.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, you could get some weird freaky sex stuff in here. That was a bomb drop. Hell yeah.
Hey, it hit me too because after I watched each movie, I just kind of skimmed the Wikipedia article and I was like, "Ooh, Ronaldo, who played him?"
Oh no. That's like
fucking sucks.
That was like the I had a similar reaction when I was younger. After Jurassic Park, probably a few years after Jurassic Park, of being like, who the fuck played Muldoon? That guy's awesome. I want to see that guy in more stuff. I look him up. I'm like, oh, he's fucking dead. Fuck. Like, he died shortly after that movie. I was like, God damn it. No.
Yeah.
The raptor got him. She was too clever of a girl. Okay. Now I gotta tally up all these ranks. Well, I got my point totals lined up. Probably next time I'll ask you guys to input your picks before the show, so I can do all the math off camera. So let me go in order. Okay, Lady Frankenstein. Lady Frankenstein has a base score of 17 just based on death count and sex count alone. It's honestly, before our personal choices and opinions, it's at the top of the list. Let's see. Categories. Neff has 1, 2 up there, so plus 10. I think I got everything there. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna be doing math here for a minute.
Math.
Yeah.
All of the math.
I'm doing freaking math. Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh.
Continue
nobody
to
said there
discuss
was math in
everything.
this.
Well, you're not having to do the math. I am, but
Oh, no.
gonna be a little focused here for a minute.
About them Yankees, I don't know.
So I'm excited for next month, though.
Yeah, next month.
Yeah.
Next month should be
Yeah.
fun. I might do a trade out for that one that is like apparently impossible to find, and go with Dead Girl.
Okay. I haven't seen that movie either, so it's all good.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Oh, I want to pick movies.
I mean, I'm
Nice.
totally fine with that. It's just the initial conversation was more or less like, you know what, you're the movie guy?
Yeah,
But I've got
that's more or less my
movies
thought on
that
it.
I know, like Fish hasn't seen. I know Kettle probably hasn't seen. Maybe. I've
I
actually.
mean, there's a
got
ton of movies I haven't
movies.
seen.
Yeah. I gotta make a theme.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that as well. Like, if we were to do some kind of like, I don't know what we'd call it, like somebody
Round
chooses
robin?
like a different month. It doesn't even have to
Yeah.
be a round robin, because I like the only like one thing that I could think of, and this would just be movie related, not so much horror related, would be like picking out some movies and like, here's what I feel has defined like my sense of humor and all of that. But that's a kind of a different thing. So that's something I've had a thought of.
Not
Throwing it out
so
there.
spooky syndicate.
Yeah. The jokes are so bad, you'll be terrified.
Oh.
But
See,
yeah,
that's my thing.
that's a different thing.
I haven't watched a lot of. We were sitting there talking the other night, and I was asking Boone. I was like, "So, what do you feel like watching? Comedy? Like, am I picking?" And I was like, "The only comedy movies that I really can honestly say that I know anything about are ones you've shown me, because I don't watch romance. I don't watch comedy very often. Not that I don't enjoy it. It's very rare that stuff actually makes me laugh.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, shit. Well,
And actually, not
area.
specifically movies, but a category that was recommended to me by my girlfriend, which I think would be good if we're still doing this kind of thing, like in the summer, would have a shark month.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yay.
down. We can't do Jaws though.
Why? Disney's not watching it.
Right, but we can't watch, because I mean, honestly, that's the one that you're gonna go to.
Yeah.
Like, that one's already kind of one of like the best. So I think we should compare like shark movies that aren't like
More
so
obscure
immoralized.
choices.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
'Cause, I mean,
We could
I'm
do
pretty
Jaws
sure
the
Bruce-
Revenge.
Yeah. We could always watch we should also do ones that are like giant boat horror movies, maybe.
Giant boat horror movies.
Like not giant boat horror movies, but like seafaring as well,
Yeah.
because those legitimately creep me out, and I like being scared sometimes.
Mhm.
Like, there's so many. Body mod, like body horror.
So I mean, next month, Twisted Love. Pretty obvious. February, Valentine's Day, whatnot. Didn't really break my brain going for that
Right.
theme. Beyond that, I think the only half idea I had was for March, we could watch the first 4 Leprechaun movies.
I was gonna say March
Oh.
has to include at least one Leprechaun.
I was thinking of like we watch the first 4 Leprechaun movies and go with that.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, definitely maybe like that kind of theme, but I don't know if I want to watch all like the first 4.
All Leprechaun all the time.
Dude, it's hard. Like, these were interesting, and I'm still like, all right, but like, all
I mean,
the Leprechaun movies.
It's not all. There's 2. There's actually like 6 movies. Actually, I think there's more than 6 at this point because they did some kind of weird remake thing.
Yeah, there was a reboot
as well. So it's not all the
Watch
Leprechaun
Leprechaun
movies.
in the Hood.
Oh my god!
Like,
think
I'm
we
just
should
trying to like
definitely at least
hornswoggle
watch-
people into more people into watching Leprechaun 4 in space.
I say maybe we should watch the original Leprechaun and then maybe give the reboot to compare the 2, and then fuck it, watch the goofiest ones and just kind of go from there. Like, I'll watch Leprechaun in space because that just sounds fucking ridiculous. But good lord, isn't that Warwick Davis?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. See, I'm finally getting some of them right. I'm getting actor names right. Look at this. I'm progressing. I'm becoming a more intelligent movie watcher. Still can't pull actor names out of my ass like you can, but
I mean, you pulled Warwick Davis. That's a pretty good pull.
it is, but like he's the only one that I can name of the wee people.
Oh
Like,
wow!
I can't I can't, like, because there was the guy that was in R2D2, and then there
Kenny
was
Baker.
the other Kenny. See, there's Kenny Baker, and then there's the guy that played the Ewok, which I had to pull up on IMDb. And then the rest of them, anytime I'm like, is that Warwick Davis? Because technically Warwick Davis is always in costume. So I don't know
Not
what man
always.
the things that I've seen him in.
You gotta watch Willow.
Oh no, that one's gonna make me sad.
Why?
Because the horse scene, I've seen it.
That's not Willow. That's fuck. That's Never Ending Story.
Oh, okay, then we'll be fine. Never mind. I was trying to remember which one jogged my memory as to like being just horrible.
I mean, Never Ending Story is good, but it's got that heartbreaking scene with the fucking horse. It's the only thing.
I want to watch that. A poor horse. Oh, my eye's on fire.
Uh-oh.
It's on
But yeah, I'm
fire.
definitely open to you guys chiming in with either the themes for the month, and then you can be like, go find the movies, movie boy. or coming up with like, yo, this I want to put this movie in the docket somewhere. Like, I'm completely in favor of that.
I definitely need
Because
to add
because again,
Suspiria.
that'll honestly potentially get me to watch more stuff that I haven't seen as well. Because like, if I'm just curating all of these on my lonesome, I'm probably gonna fill every single month with movies I've already seen.
Yeah.
For the most part. So it'll get some nice variance in there.
It's on fire.
Uh-oh. What have you done?
I don't know. It's just my eyes decided to burn. By the way, Kettle, look at Indy's stream and Fish too, and look at the little Twitter bird next to
Yeah,
him.
no, I saw that. I was waiting for a time
his
to
little-
point that out. It's really cute.
Yeah,
Little undead bird.
it's a little It's a Franken-bird. Here, I'll send you in Discord. I'll send you a blown-up version of it so you can see it a little bit better.
They saw his little stitches, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's a Frankenstein bird! You did so good with the backgrounds."
Oh my god, he's so cute. I love him. I love him so much.
Oh wow, that is neat.
Like, I think you just need to put that like somewhere in your little down there. He's so cute. I kind of want a plushie of him. I want a Frankenbird. Franken-tweet. Franken-tweet.
All right. I got all the points
Oh shit.
added. I got to just add all of our scores together. Shall just do right now. I have no idea how this is going to factor into anything else. I haven't thought that far ahead yet.
I mean, fair enough.
But it could be because we ranked the movies. Like, we have our personal rankings. This is gonna jostle up the rankings based on the score. Potentially. Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see.
Oh,
And we'll also have like an objective, like who got the most points. Okay, let's see. So, based on point totals, personally, I had Frankenstein's Army, came away with 50 points, followed by The Bride with 38, and then Flesh and Lady Frankenstein tied with 36.
Yeah.
Let's see, who is this? Neffy? Let's see how your points tallied out. You got Frankenstein's Army at the top, 53, followed by The Bride, 41. And then, again, Flesh and Lady are tied with 33. Fish, at the top of the list, you got The Bride with 62 points, followed by Lady Frankenstein with 41, followed by Flesh for Frankenstein with 30, followed by Frankenstein's Army with 27. And Kettle, oh man. Aside from Flesh for Frankenstein, yours are all like it's tied. Like, top score is tied between The Bride and Lady Frankenstein. They both have 43 points.
That's fair.
Followed by Frankenstein's Army with 42. So it's just 1 point away.
Yeah.
And then Flesh for Frankenstein, 32 points.
I mean, I like those other three about the same. Like,
Yeah. And then
So-
grand total. Grand total point winner, The Bride, 184 points. Followed by Frankenstein's Army with 172. followed by Lady Frankenstein with 153, and then Flesh for Frankenstein coming in at the bottom with 131.
Oh shit.
I don't know what that means, but it's interesting, I guess, maybe.
I love data and stats and all that.
Yeah, this is straight up just me being like, I like stats. We need more stats. I don't know how they're gonna factor into anything, or if we're gonna like make the movies fight from month to month. I mean, I imagine so. So I guess like the winner of this month could like go on and see how it stacks up against the winners of next month, and so on and so forth. But I don't know. I just like numbers. I got numbers now.
I'm with you there.
I like numbers.
I like numbers. Damn it. But I will probably in the future ask people to turn in their picks as we go along. So there's not like 20 minutes of me just sitting here tapping in fucking numbers. But yeah. That's Franken-uary.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That worked out pretty well too. I feel like about 2 hours is
Yeah, it's
good.
a damn sight better than what, 3.5, almost 4 hours we spent in October.
Well, yeah, that's because like the first time we got 2 hours in, it's like we've talked about 5 movies out of our like collective 120.
And then we sped through the rest of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
We didn't have numbers.
More in depth about 4 movies is, I think, way.
It's a
way
lot
better.
more manageable. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah. I don't know where we go from here. So next month we got Twisted Love. So let me pull up in case anybody in chat wants to follow along. We're gonna be watching Audition, the Takashi Miike movie. Comforting Skin, the early 2000s slasher film Valentine. And it was originally going to be Love Object, but apparently that movie doesn't exist outside of the single DVD copy I own anymore, which is sad because I remember that movie being pretty good. So instead of that, we're going to be watching Dead Girl, which is it's definitely it's a movie.
It's a movie.
It'll leave some lasting marks, I think.
Oh no. Kettle.
I think it's not as out there as Flesh for Frankenstein.
All
Flesh
right.
for Frankenstein was
A whole nother thing.
it's a whole other thing. It was one of I'm like it's by far like of these 4 movies, it's the worst movie, but damn, I could talk a lot about Flesh for Frankenstein. Like it's so rife with possibilities to just be like, what the fuck was this then? And what the fuck was that? Like, it's insane. But yeah, I guess that will conclude this episode of Spookshow Syndicate. Thank you everybody for participating and doing all the things.
It was fun. Are you playing anything after this?
I mean, it's only 11. I'll probably play some. I'll probably jump into Graveyard Keeper.
Ooh, yay.
But yeah.
So I gotta make a killer love background.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out what
I think I got Twisted Love or
Twisted Love. I'll figure out some. I'll
Twisted
get some inspiration.
Valentine.
Don't you worry, it'll be cool. It'll also be Twitch appropriate, but it'll be cool.
You can put tits on it. You just have to put like the stars or like severed heads over the nipples.
No, I'm gonna
Hearts,
make
yeah.
over the nipples.
Like yeah,
not
actual
not
removed
the,
hearts.
Like the actual heart.
I have to also make sure that it's not copywritten. So.
That's true.
Oh, make your own boobs.
I am not.
Draw your own boobs with hearts over the nipples.
Over the nippies.
Draw your own tits with Bob Ross.
Okay.
I have a suggestion for one of the March movies.
Oh.
Have you ever seen Grabbers?
I have seen Grabbers. Grabbers is amazing.
Yeah, so I mean St. Patty's Day, lots of
It works. Yeah. It's Irish. It's very Irish.
It's very Irish.
Yeah, I could expand it from just like forcing everybody to watch the first 4 Leprechaun movies. I could just toss in Leprechaun 4 because I don't think you need to have seen any of the previous Leprechaun movies to watch any of them. So yeah, we could all. I mean, if you guys want to throw stuff in as well,
Yeah.
march forward.
I'm
My pick is Leprechaun 4 in space.
All right.
Yeah, mine would be Grabbers.
If I come up with anything, I'll let you know. But
Okay.
I think Leprechaun's the only like even sort of related movie or anything I know of that's kind of related to that.
Right. So yeah, any final thoughts from anybody about anything?
Everybody needs to watch
Overall?
Frankenstein's Army.
I think we should spend the next 1 minute in moment of silence for Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very distraught.
You laughing isn't silence.
I was watching that.
I was ready to
movie,
do
and when
that.
happened last night. I was in so much tears that I booked a cruise.
You're like, dear God, no, not
So
Ronaldo,
happy.
not Ronaldo.
I literally had to pause it. I was pissed off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I imagine I was very distraught as a youngin watching that. I'm like, what do you mean he's dead?
Because
No, he's fine.
Death.
He'll
It
be
really
okay.
is. No, his little buddy.
Oh man.
I think it hit me so hard because it was like, how is he gonna live without someone to guide him? Everybody needs a hobbit buddy. Fuckers are all lucky you got me.
Don't do any high trapeze work at a shady carnival.
Don't worry about it. I'm too top heavy.
There you go.
I'm sitting in the booth next to the lady who walked out with the huge bazongas.
Yeah, my God.
Oh yeah.
They had to be record holders with the size of those. All right. I think we've confused and horrified Never.
Plop those down on some grocery store scales.
I like how last time I put the picture of Braxy over Never's face and he was all like, oh God. When he uses that emote all the time and it's the same fucking face. Like that's the face Braxy was making. I don't know what you were so bothered about. All right, I won't keep you guys any longer then. If you're all spent.
Just gonna go watch the rest of your stream, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll be
Same
kind
here.
of lurking around. I might have some stuff to tend to, but we shall see.